I said to Graham, phone the police. You know, maybe they've missed him. He might be lying in a ditch somewhere. I remember saying that out loud. Graham phoned the police. They took our name and address. And then within about 15 minutes, the police car arrived at the front door. And I say this to the school kids when I see them. It is like it is on the telly. They walked down the path and they put their hats on their heads, you know, as they came down the garden path. And then all they had was his keys, his set of keys in the back door there. And without even seeing them, I said to him, he's got a green keyring with Wild Thing written on it. I bought it for his birthday last year and just put it on the table. And that was how we found out that Callum had been killed.
We cannot describe the loss we feel. The parents of two 17-year-old school friends have paid tribute to their children after they were killed in an horrific road accident in Inverness. Nicola McCalley reports.
Flowers and cards mark the scene of yesterday's crash at the junction just off Island Bank Road in Inverness, an outpouring of grief as family and friends mourn the loss of two young lives.
I was saying this morning, it's wondering what was Callum shouting, or did he know it was coming?
No, I never knew it was the speed. From there, that corner to here, it took me a fraction of a second.
How many times in his life did he walk or run down this road? Remember when I used to collect him from work from the Glenmore Hotel? I always came down this way. There was two girls jogging. We were told by the time they crossed the road, bang, the car was in the trees. By the time they got there and turned round, the car was jammed in the trees. So that gives you an idea of the speed of how it all happened, you know. We know it's step by step, but when you hear that, it must have been bang, straight into the trees.
The noise was heard half a mile down the road.
Yeah. The girl that was driving the car Callum was in was actually insured for that car. She was a learner driver. It was a 2-litre car which had put something in the engine. They had her boyfriend that had owned it previously, had put something in the engine to make it even go faster. Chipped, I think it was called, it was chipped. But this girl was actually insured for this car. An insurance company actually gave her insurance to drive this, to learn to drive in it. And Graham and I both felt, well, it's just not right. So that's where we went to see David Stewart.
When Diane and Graham came to see me, talked about the death of the son, and that was fairly shortly after it happened. When that really triggered something off in me, that I was determined to try and do something, about that. And there'll be, hundreds of parents, across Scotland who have lost a son or a daughter, who've had someone injured in a car accident that can probably relate to that. As you can see, we've got 2 folders full of that sort of material. So that's information that we've written to Northern Constabulary about. We've also written to Grampian Police. We've had information about young people's guide, letters to the family, driver interventions in Fife, because Fife had some very good practice on this, more letters to the Minister. And we want young people to go out and to be able to drive, to be mobile, to enjoy the thrill of driving, everything else. So it's not about being a killjoy. What it's about is saying, but make sure you've got the skills and expertise necessary to equip yourself with dangerous driving conditions, and also be aware of the risks. We did research, looked at Australia, we looked at America, we looked at Canada. We also looked at the Welsh Assembly, who'd done some excellent work on a campaign called Deadly Mates. So today's debate is really about the movement from the campaign in the constituency to the campaign in the Parliament. So I've been fortunate tonight that I've got the members' debate, which is approximately half an hour, where individual members can bring really motions about issues that affect them in their region or in their constituency. The key for me tonight is to argue for the graduated driving licence approach, which is basically a system that allows young drivers in particular to get more experience before they have an unrestricted driving licence.
I now call on David Stewart to open this debate. You have 7 minutes.
Thank you very much, Deputy Presiding Officer, and could I place on record my thanks for members across the political divide who have supported my motion, and also colleagues who have stayed behind this evening. They have shown their interest and concern in the road safety of young drivers across Scotland.
But what I've been very conscious of is it's not some, middle-aged adult talking down to young people. If that's the essence of the campaign, then it won't work. And when I spoke last week to Anderson High in Shetland, to the whole of the sixth year, it was about how can we involve young people in this campaign.
Just passed her test and she's stalling.
Shut up, where's your pink card? Oh wait, hold on, you don't have one, you've got a green one.
I don't understand.
Your provisional, yeah, is green and the licence is pink. Oh my god. I need to slow down, Jan.
Yeah, slow down.
It's just because we see the traffic lights you're saying that.
Yeah. Well, I don't really have a licence, so I technically,
you can
in
still...
a way, don't have a right to
Yes, you do.
slow down, but...
If you don't feel comfortable in a car, you can tell anyone to slow down. Not because you don't have a licence that you can't.
Nah, it's not easy to tell people that drive recklessly to drive sensibly, because they probably just feel, oh, I've passed my test, don't need to listen to anyone now. But truth is, they kind of do.
That's a special photo to us all. That was given to us from the boys. That was an 18th birthday, one of his best pals. There he is. Just in their house, right in the thick of it, dear Carl.
When the accident happened, nobody really believed it at first. Everyone just went into complete shock. I mean, at his funeral, I couldn't even cry. I was still in shock. I still didn't believe it. A lot of people were the same. But the whole street was still not the same. Everyone's still a bit affected by it.
Right, if you go into first and forward a little bit. That's okay, don't panic about that.
I hate this car. I'm blaming the car. On a normal sized road, I can't do a 3-point turn. It's these shoes. Not gonna lie, when things start going wrong, I do panic a little. And that's where things get worse.
Just ignore drivers behind you. They've all been learners. Just ignore them.
I think if you're in a learner car, like it's got L plates and stuff on it, people are more likely to sort of make you nervous by like, overtaking you a lot and coming up really close behind you if you're going slow. So you've got the added pressure of being a learner in front of loads of people that have already passed and think they're much better than you. But the truth really is that you're learning, you're currently studying all the right things to do, so you know a lot more than they do really, don't you?
Passing my test was amazing. I was in the car and I thought I'd failed because he had two boxes at the top that said like S and D, and I thought that meant serious, but it wasn't, and he ticked them and I was like, oh, I failed. And then he was like, you've passed, and I was like, oh, really? I told him I loved him and I was trying to cuddle him and everything. It's quite awkward actually after a while. But it's so cool. See, when you drive on your own for the first time, it's so strange.
Yeah, that would be weird.
When you pass your test, they offer you straight away a leaflet about the Pass Plus scheme, and they tell you all about it and how it can bring your insurance down if you drive more sensibly. And then after that, they've got there's one after that as well. It's like the Pass Plus Plus or something.
Like Sally was saying, the Pass Plus and stuff like that, they all do help. I mean, when else would you learn how to drive at night or on motorways or anything like that, because you don't do that in lessons or your test.
When I got the leaflet, I kind of just dismissed it at the time because I was so excited, but when you go back and read about it, it's actually quite beneficial. I think I'll look into it, but not at the moment, I'm too excited.
When you go back and read about it, it's actually quite beneficial. I think I'll look into it, but not at the moment, I'm too excited.
But not at the moment, I'm too excited.
When you go back and read about it, it's actually quite beneficial. I think I'll look into it, but not at the moment, I'm too excited.
But not at the moment, I'm too excited.
When you go back and read about it, it's actually quite beneficial. I think I'll look into it, but not at the moment, I'm too excited.
When
both agree we're not out to stop teenagers learning to drive. That's the big thing. You know, we both remember the freedom that learning to drive and the excitement and everything. So I would say to anybody, I'm not telling the teenagers not to learn to drive. I mean, it's a great thing. But from the two points of view, as a driver, I try to say, you know, take responsibility for the passengers you're going to take in the car.
If you do end up just being silly and not paying attention, it's not just going to be their family that's crushed, it's going to be people you don't know, it's going to be everyone you're upsetting, and it's all because you just decided to read a text in your car when you could have just waited 5 minutes and pulled over and stopped and looked at it.
There's a bigger picture here, there's something we can do, and it's not just giving up and say, well, nothing can be done. It's very easy to do that. I mean, there's practical steps that will make a difference. We know that. We know the research from America shows that if you've got 3 or more young people under 25 in a car at a Friday or Saturday evening, there's 5 times more likely to have an accident. We know what all the statistics are. We know what could change that. And it's just a case of convincing governments in both sides of the border there's something can be done about that.